Is it dangerous to put your phone next to you while you sleep? This is a question that has sparked countless debates, stirring curiosity and concern in equal measures. In this digital age where our smartphones have become extensions of ourselves, we often find them sharing our pillows, tucked safely under them, or simply resting on our nightstands. But how safe is this practice really? There's a sea of information out there, filled with various beliefs and misconceptions. Some people firmly believe that sleeping next to your phone could expose you to harmful radiation, potentially leading to serious health issues over time. Others, however, dismiss such claims as nothing more than fear-mongering, asserting that the radiation levels emitted by phones are too low to cause any harm. Then we have those who worry about the psychological implications. They argue that having a phone within arm's reach could disrupt sleep patterns, increase stress levels, and even contribute to the development of addictive behaviors. On the flip side, there are those who find comfort and security in keeping their phones close, citing reasons such as needing to be reachable at all times, using phone alarms to wake up, or simply using their phones as a tool for relaxation before sleep. Another common belief is that phones, when charged overnight next to the bed, could overheat and pose a fire risk. Yet others are quick to point out that modern smartphones are designed to prevent such incidents, making this concern largely unfounded. As you can see, opinions on this matter are as diverse as they are plentiful, making it challenging to discern fact from fiction. It's clear that we need to clear the fog of confusion and uncertainty surrounding this issue, and that's exactly what we're here to do. So, is it really dangerous to sleep next to your phone? Or is this just another modern myth waiting to be debunked? It's high time we dive into the research, consult the experts, weigh the evidence, and uncover the truth. So buckle up, dear listeners, as we embark on this enlightening journey. Let's delve into this topic and find out the truth. Several studies have been conducted to answer this very question. Let's start by looking at some of the research that suggests there could be potential dangers. A study from the National Toxicology Program in the United States discovered that high exposure to radio frequency radiation, like that emitted by cell phones, led to an increase in tumors in the hearts of male rats. Interestingly, this effect was not seen in female rats or in mice. Now, before you panic, it's essential to note that this was under extreme levels of exposure, far more than the average cell phone user would experience. But it does suggest that under particular circumstances, there could be some risk. On the flip side, a significant study by the Australian Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Agency found that, after 3 decades of extensive cell phone use in Australia, there was no significant increase in brain cancer rates. This suggests that, at least for brain cancer, the risk from cell phone use is minimal. But what about sleep quality? A study published in the Journal of Sleep Research found that individuals who used their cell phones more frequently, particularly before bed, had lower sleep quality. The light from the screen can disrupt your natural sleep patterns, and the mental stimulation of scrolling through social media or reading news articles can make it harder to wind down. However, this has less to do with the physical proximity of the phone and more to do with the activities performed on it. Keeping your phone next to your bed may make it more tempting to reach for it, but the phone itself isn't necessarily the culprit. Now let's talk about radio frequency energy. Cell phones emit this type of energy, and some studies have suggested a potential link between long-term exposure and health issues like headaches or decreased cognitive function. However, the World Health Organization has classified this type of exposure as possibly carcinogenic, which means there isn't enough evidence to conclusively say one way or the other. In contrast, other research has found no significant links between cell phone use and health issues. A large-scale study conducted in Denmark looked at over 400,000 cell phone users and found no increased risk of tumors or other health problems. So where does this leave us? Well, the research is undoubtedly complex and sometimes contradictory. Some studies suggest possible risks, while others find no significant dangers. The type of exposure, the duration of exposure, and even the model of phone can all play a role in these outcomes. It's also important to remember that many of these studies are observational and cannot prove cause and effect. Just because two things occur together doesn't mean one causes the other. As we can see, the research presents a mixed picture. But what do the experts say? Let's delve into the perspectives of those who spend their days immersed in the fields of medicine, technology, and scientific research. Their views on the matter are as diverse as their fields of expertise, reflecting the complexity of this issue. Dr. James, a renowned neurologist, believes that the potential harm of sleeping next to your phone is not so much about radiation, but more about the light it emits. This light, particularly the blue light, can disrupt our sleep patterns, leading to poor quality sleep and a range of health issues. On the other hand, we have tech guru Steve, who argues that modern smartphones have significantly reduced emission levels. He asserts that the real danger lies in the possibility of the phone overheating, especially if left under a pillow or blanket, which could potentially cause a fire. Meanwhile, physicist Dr. Laura argues that while the levels of radiation emitted by phones are indeed low, we still don't fully understand the long-term effects of this exposure. She reminds us that it's better to be safe than sorry, recommending we keep our phones at a distance while sleeping. Interestingly, psychologist Dr. Mike points out the psychological impact of having the phone next to us. He suggests that the constant availability and the expectation of being always connected can lead to stress and anxiety, disrupting our sleep even more. And finally, we have Dr. Sam, a sleep specialist. He shares the consensus that the light and constant notifications from our phones can disrupt our sleep. He advises us to adopt good sleep hygiene by keeping our bedrooms free of electronic devices. The experts too seem to have differing opinions. So where does all this leave us? We've delved into the research findings and heard from the experts, but the question remains, is it truly dangerous to sleep next to your phone? This is where we weigh the evidence. On one hand, we have a collection of research findings suggesting that prolonged exposure to the electromagnetic fields emitted by our phones could potentially cause health issues. These studies, while limited in number, do present worrying results, indicating possible links to issues such as disturbed sleep patterns, headaches, and even long-term health concerns. On the flip side, we have the expert opinions. Many argue that the levels of radiation emitted by our phones are too low to cause any significant harm. They point out that the majority of studies conducted so far have not found a direct cause and effect relationship between mobile phone radiation and health problems. They also emphasize that there are many other sources of electromagnetic radiation in our daily lives, such as Wi-Fi and microwaves, which we don't seem to worry about as much. However, it's important to remember that science is a never-ending process. Just because we don't have definitive answers now, doesn't mean we won't in the future. We need to consider the strengths and weaknesses of each side of the argument. The research findings, while concerning, are still preliminary and often based on small sample sizes. They also tend to rely on self-reported data, which can be subject to bias. Meanwhile, the expert opinions, while reassuring, are mostly based on the current understanding of radiation and its effects on the human body. As we continue to use and rely on mobile technology more and more, it's possible that our understanding of its potential impacts may change. In the end, it's about balancing the potential risks with the convenience and benefits that our phones provide. As we've seen, the evidence on both sides has its strengths and weaknesses. It seems there's no clear-cut answer. It's a personal decision, one that each of us must make based on our own understanding and comfort level. So, should you keep your phone next to you while you sleep? Well, let's break it down. If you're someone who relies on your phone for an alarm, consider investing in a traditional alarm clock. This way, you can keep your phone at a distance while still waking up on time. Now, if you need your phone for emergency calls during the night, simply put it on airplane mode. This reduces the amount of electromagnetic radiation it emits. If you're worried about missing important notifications, you might want to explore the Do Not Disturb feature that most smartphones have. It allows you to mute all notifications but lets through calls and messages from selected contacts. And remember, it's not just about where you place your phone, but also about how you use it before bed. Limiting screen time can significantly improve your sleep quality. At the end of the day, it's a personal choice. Take these tips into account and decide what works best for you.